Good day everyone, and welcome to Mr. Creepy Skeleton Stories. For today's video we will be featuring creepy tenant stories. I hope you would enjoy this one, and please don't forget to subscribe. Get ready and here we go. Story 1. In the small, quiet apartment building where I lived, whispers of a new tenant began to circulate. The rumors spoke of a person shrouded in mystery, someone who kept to themselves and rarely interacted with others. As an adult suspense lover, I couldn't help but be intrigued by the enigmatic presence that had entered our midst. One evening, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate. I discreetly followed the path leading to the new tenant's door, my heart pounding with anticipation. As I approached, I noticed a faint glow coming from beneath the crack. That's when I realized something was amiss. Slowly, I turned the doorknob, careful not to make a sound. The door swung open, revealing a dimly lit room. I peered inside, my eyes adjusting to the darkness. What I saw sent shivers down my spine. The tenant stood in the center of the room, engrossed in a horrifying act. Before me, I witnessed a macabre tableau, a room filled with meticulously arranged human remains. The tenant, a figure cloaked in darkness, exhibited a chilling calmness as they meticulously reconstructed the pieces like a demented puzzle. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized I had stumbled upon a serial killer's lair. Panic surged within me, making it difficult to think clearly. I managed to snap a quick photo with my phone, documenting the gruesome scene as evidence. With trembling hands, I hurriedly closed the door and raced back to my apartment, my mind racing with thoughts of what I had just witnessed. The following day, fueled by a mix of terror and determination, I gathered my evidence and rushed to the police station. The gravity of my discovery weighed heavily on my conscience as I presented the authorities with the chilling photo. The investigation was launched immediately, and I anxiously awaited news of the suspect's capture. Days turned into weeks as the hunt for the notorious killer intensified. The quiet apartment building became a hub of police activity, as officers meticulously combed through the evidence within the tenant's lair. The sense of dread and unease permeated the atmosphere, leaving all residents on edge. Finally, the news broke. A breakthrough in the case had been made. The identity of the quiet tenant was revealed, and the horrifying truth sent shockwaves through the community. The tenant, a seemingly unassuming individual, had been responsible for a string of heinous murders that had plagued our city for years. As the trial commenced, the true extent of the tenant's crimes came to light. Their meticulous nature and ability to remain undetected for so long left us all in awe and disbelief. It was a chilling reminder that evil can exist even in the most unassuming places. In the end, justice was served, and the quiet tenant was sentenced to a lifetime behind bars. Our community slowly began to heal, but the horrors we had witnessed would forever remain etched in our minds. The story of the quiet tenant serves as a chilling reminder to never underestimate the darkness that may lurk behind closed doors. It is a testament to our own resilience and the power of unity in exposing and confronting evil. And as I reflect on that fateful encounter, I am reminded that even in the most peaceful of environments, true horror can rear its head, forever altering the lives of those who bear witness to it. Story 2. I was living a rather boring life until the tenant was transferred to my block. I had no idea who he was or where he had come from, but my gut instinct told me he was dangerous. My name is David, and I live in a small apartment block with other tenants who come and go quite often. They never stay long, usually only for a month or two. One night I was still awake and I heard what sounded like footsteps outside my door. It made me freeze in fear, and I waited for a few minutes before getting up the courage to look out of the peephole. When I peeked out, I saw him. He was tall, lanky, and pale as a ghost. He was wearing torn jeans and a hoodie, and he was carrying a shoulder bag. He was looking up and down the hallway as if he was searching for something. No one else seemed to be around, so I stepped out into the hallway to confront him. He quickly spun around to face me and I saw his eyes. They were the coldest eyes I had ever seen, and I knew in that moment that he was no ordinary tenant. He stared at me for what felt like an eternity before he finally spoke, his voice low and menacing. He told me he had been looking for something, but he wouldn't tell me what. Then he slowly started to walk towards me. I was so scared I couldn't move and my heart was pounding in my throat. When he was right in front of me, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a knife. He told me he would kill me if I spoke a word of this to anyone. His cold eyes seemed to drill into me as he said it. I nodded quickly and shrank back into my apartment, slamming the door behind me. I still see him around the building and it sends shivers down my spine. I'm scared of what he is capable of, and I never know when he's lurking in the shadows. I'm convinced he's a psychopath and he'll never stop until he finds what he's looking for. Story 3. Once upon a time, there was an old building in the heart of the city filled with sleepy tenants. I used to live in that building for many years, until I decided to move away. One day, a new tenant arrived, a mysterious figure who kept to himself. The landlord knew very little about him, only that he needed somewhere to stay, and he wasn't particular about the age or condition of the building. Little did we know then the horrors that were to come. The new tenant had a striking appearance. He was tall and gaunt, with long, dark hair and piercing eyes. He rarely spoke or interacted with anyone, preferring to keep to himself and only leaving the building rarely and briefly. The first sign of trouble was when one of our neighbors suddenly went missing. When asked, the new tenant had a strange and sinister smirk on his face, one that gave us all a chill. The landlord searched the new tenant's room, and discovered things he wished he hadn't. Footprints in the dirt, dried blood on the walls, and most horribly, skeletal remains in the closet. We suspected the truth, that the new tenant was in fact a psychopath, with a history of violence and murder. We were all terrified that our new neighbor posed a threat to us, but we were unable to find proof that he was the murderer. Every day, we heard the tenant shuffling around in his room, but never came out, not even to eat. Nobody knew if he had food stored in his room, or if he was even alive. The only people brave enough to knock on his door were the landlord and the police, and their knocks were always met with eerie silence. Weeks passed and the tenant didn't move out. Little by little we lost hope that we would find safety from this potential killer and went about our lives. Then it happened. After weeks of silence, the tenant finally came out of his room. He had a sly smile on his face as he came outside, as if nothing had changed. We were all too afraid to confront him, so we watched in horror as he made his way to the local park. While we were too scared to actually follow him, we heard news of terrified children who had witnessed a man matching the tenant's description attacking innocent people in the park. We all knew that it was the tenant who did it. We called the police and soon enough they came and arrested the tenant. We were all relieved, but at the same time disturbed by the thought of what could have been if we had acted sooner. This horror story serves as a warning to everyone, that we must stay vigilant and never trust our safety to chance. It would be too easy to become complacent around potential killers, so let this story reiterate that we must remain aware of our surroundings, no matter how safe we think we are.